Welcome to Fridays with Anne. This is a series of conversations with Belgian homeopath Anne Vervaeke about homeopathy. I will ask her curiously whatever confuses me in homeopathy, like case taking, case analysis, or theory in general, and Anne will answer according to her insights, experience, and most recent findings. You, the viewer, are invited to participate actively, so please feel free to send in comments and questions. And now today's episode of Fridays with Anne.
Hello and welcome to this Friday with Anne. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, Joost.
This is a historical moment in the history of homeopathy.
Really?
We are doing our 20th Friday with Anne.
Oh,
20 weeks have passed, and I wanted to embark on a philosophical journey with you today.
Mhm.
In many episodes now, in many sessions, we have spoken about the scientific aspect of homeopathy. But there is also an art aspect to homeopathy, which various homeopaths have referred to, but it's not so clear what is what and what is the artistic part exactly. So I would like to speak with you about this, or I would like you to speak about this. So can you, as a start, can you please explain these two? What is it? Why do we differentiate between art and science?
It's a very interesting topic, but as you said, difficult to explain. We all agree, homeopathy is art and science, and then we continue talking about the scientific part of it. Because that's the easiest. It's about method, it's about the how does it work, and it's the proof, and there is no proof yet, and the scientific research, and all of the quarrels and the disputes, and the books, of most of the books are on this scientific part, and the art part is either not spoken of or forgotten uh, uh, at all. I don't know. And for me, it's the most important part. Yeah.
Okay, that is that makes it all the more interesting.
Yes.
So we can say the science part is the method, the methodology, how we take a case and which approach we take to analyzing the case, and all material medical knowledge as well. Or what would you say is all the what's the science part?
What you said to start with, it's like I compare to arts in general. You have to start with your learning your instrument, and you have to practice, drill, do it every day in order to have it in your fingers. And it's the same with homeopathy. It seems boring, especially to the outsiders, homeopaths and even homeopathic students usually think it's very interesting to study all these rubrics and all these remedy pictures and to repertorize, and it's learning how to master your instrument, and it's necessary. It's a technique, and without technique you can't play.
Yes.
And with some simple technique, actually you can do a lot. It's like playing the guitar. Once you know a few chords, you can sing a song, and you can already do something that other people can't. So it's the same like with homeopathic basic technique. You can do a lot. You can make clinical prescriptions, and they're great because they do better than most of regular medicines. They can cure diseases that can't be cured. You can cure epidemics. You can go to third world countries. I told you before, the first or second year student can make wonderful clinical prescriptions with like basic techniques.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? But yeah, but the art part comes later. It's like something added to it. Like if you go to art school and you learn a technique, once you know how to draw a landscape or paint a face of somebody, a portrait, people are amazed because it looks so similar, you know, it's so well done. But for the real artist, this is mainly technique. Yeah, it's not art yet.
So it sounds like what I'd say commonly we're being taught and what we commonly apply then even, or think of and tell others about homeopathy is science, is the scientific part then. Because I mean, that's what we learn at school. We learn the rubrics, we learn remedy pictures, we learn how to take a case, which steps we can go through in case taking, which questions to ask, how to ask the questions. Then we learn how to analyze the case, what to include in the repertorization, and the meta-medical comparison, and to choose the posology, even though that's also where more interpretation comes in, I guess. But this is the majority of our training, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. And it has to. You have to start somewhere, and you have to start with the technique. Yeah. So that has to be the basic training of everybody, but it shouldn't stop there. But the technique is the easiest because it has some, how to say, certainty. Like in the books, the same books are used and the same rubrics, and we use the same instruments. So we have some kind of shared understanding, which is much more difficult with the artistic part, because then the individuality plays a bigger role. You know, with Crystal, we wrote articles, and as we were both directors of a school, we had a lot of discussions about the ideal way of training students. And of course, the technical part is not that difficult because you can make like rules and regulations and programs and all that. But the rest is more implicit. And we compared it, or I compared it to art school, where the teacher is actually walking around in the classroom as the students are making their drawings. Let's say they draw a model, and he stops at every student's drawing and comments on the student's work according to his understanding, to his level, to his inner world. So the teacher has to be like almost a personal coach, we would call it a coach nowadays, as to help the student to give the best of him, to see where he is, to point out his weak spots or his where he goes wrong, or where he, you know, is using an easy trick instead of challenging himself and all that. So he personally coaches him, and that would be ideal in homeopathic training, if the student could have like a clinical training with all his technical knowledge, and then he has like a personal supervisor who can comment on the way he takes a case, because that is where the art comes in, the way he analyzes and understands a case. But it's individual, and of course nobody has the money to do this, so we are only talking of a future ideal.
Yeah. Okay, now we're well, would you like to elaborate a bit more then on this art aspect? I mean, you already said that it's like there is an experienced person, an experienced homeopath who can give you directions, who can give you guidance, seeing how you apply your technique in real life scenarios.
Yeah.
So what is the art about?
Yes, yeah, you can't avoid the question. I know it was coming.
We have to define it scientifically.
Yes, it is the only good question to ask. I agree, but you know, we were like turning around a little bit. What
Yeah.
is the artistic?
I have to nail you down.
Yes, you have to. I know. I knew it was coming. So, but this the artistic part is so difficult. I can try to convey it, but in the book Homeopathy, Strange and Peculiar, there's a chapter on the healing setting, and it was represented by a triangle where the one point represents the homeopath, the other point the patient, and the other point the remedy. And there were conditions for the 3 points in order to have like a real healing possibility to occur. Now, at the point where the homeopath is, the conditions, as far as I remember, were having the intention to heal, of course, and having the knowledge to do it. Yeah. But there's maybe one more thing, or maybe a few more requirements. And what makes a homeopath an artist or an artistic homeopath? And I think like personal development or personal, let's say, maturity helps. Yeah. What Hahnemann basically calls common sense and knowledge of human nature, because you cannot know human nature if you don't know yourself. And the consequence of that is, I think, if you get to know yourself better and you are more able to look at the person unprejudiced, that you start to love all your patients. I know how this sounds. But like you welcome them with a kind of acceptance and love, like you're good as you are. Yeah, come as you are.
Yeah, of course. We're not speaking about you want to engage in a romantic relationship with all your patients.
No.
But accept them the way they are and in which part they are of their process, and also accepting which part you are in your life. Not expecting also anything or too much of yourself or of the patient. And yes. I see.
Yes, and the willingness to hold the space for them, that like all the spaces for them, and you will whatever they suffer from, you are curious to know, you're interested, you have a genuine honest attention. It's not concentration, it's not working hard, it's having the full attention, and which is in itself inviting for the patient. And I also would recommend the homeopath to act normal, to just have a normal talk, or a seemingly normal talk, not asking fancy questions. We said that before, like try to understand your patient with a natural curiosity, of course with a purpose to help, not because you're curious for some other reason. And if you are, you can say, now for my personal interest, can you elaborate on this, on that? Even why not? And this setting, I think, would help to, because it's the patient doing it, basically. It's not us. We are creating the scene, the possibilities, but the patient is then able to open himself, to show himself. And we know, we're convinced that there cannot be anything else than perfection, because that's the law of the universe. So when the patient does this and he shows himself in all his aspects and thoughts and feelings and expressions, when all the dots connect, that's what we say, you see the pattern, then we see the perfection. And that is what I would call the art of homeopathy, where the coherent pattern shows itself, emerges before your eyes. It's like a transcendence of a talk or asking questions and answering. It's like, this is me, this is a person, this is a universe, this is a star, like you can see for your eyes. And this is beauty, because you see the truth, you see the beauty, you see the coherence, you see the perfection. That's when your heart starts to sing.
Yes, that is. I see that as another level of the healing environment. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a non-judgmental, fully accepting love of the patient, and yeah, this, like you say, this space where they can just be the way they are,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just receiving that.
Receiving, understanding, you from this, the distance disappears. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, that's how it's to be you. Yeah, there's a connection. So all these words, it's trying to convey. Actually, when I explained this, I told you with the newest book, which is in Dutch, that I present in public. I try to explain that the book um, shows more or emphasizes more the artistic part than the scientific part. It's not the book with discussions like we are right and they are wrong and all that. It's more like, what do we do as homeopaths? What is our life? What is our passion? Why are we fascinated day and night for decades doing this thing? So I try to explain a little bit why that is, because of the art, because like every artist, you whether you're forbidden or not, whether you're successful or not, you cannot stop being an artist.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
they say your art is forbidden, then you will have to hide in your cellar, but you will continue to make your art. So it's the same with homeopaths. And I try to explain them why, and then I see when the homeopaths in the public, they all start nodding. They all know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah. Other people, they look at me like, huh? What is this homeopathy? But all the homeopaths, they're happy that they know what I'm talking about. It's just
Yeah.
difficult to discuss with other people. Non-homeopaths, it's virtually impossible. It's like
Mhm.
I compare it to father and child go to a exposition and there's a Mondrian, there's abstract art,
Mhm.
and the father doesn't understand anything of it, and he says, my son can make the same drawings. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no way to explain this person the difference between his son's drawings and the drawings in the museum. Because if he doesn't see the difference, that means he's not educated to see the
Mhm.
difference. He doesn't have a concept to see the difference. He doesn't know what abstract means.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. So there's no way you convey it to him. For him, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a flat representation of lines and colors, and doesn't talk to him. It doesn't say anything to him.
Mhm. Yeah. So I see several aspects now that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, it is the healing scenario, the
Mm-hmm.
healing, yeah, constellation. Then there is a passion that you, or that one as the homeopath has
Mm-hmm.
for their profession.
Mm-hmm.
And this deeper understanding that you now spoke of, which is seeing the beauty of the craft, so to say, of their craft,
Mm-hmm.
of maybe a beautiful case taking, how things all fall into place, and you come to a good prescription, which then also works, and the patient is better, and everything is becoming more harmonious, more balanced. These are two aspects, right? And I see also another aspect, which I would like to now ask you about, because and I wonder if this is a part of the art as well, or where would you put it? Because we all learn the method, but it's not really one method. And even if we learn a similar method, then we will almost always end up, or not always, but for at least in the beginning, and when you go to seminars, you also notice this, you will end up at a stage where with your method you end up at a selection of remedies that you don't know, or maybe you know somehow, or maybe you think you know, but it's then a little bit of an interpretation where you could come to a different conclusion than others. And I wonder, is this because our method is not refined enough, or is this actually an artistic aspect of the treatment, of the therapy? Do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. When you go to a seminar and you see a case, and you see the case, and everybody takes notes, everybody thinks of things, and then at the end you're asked, so what is a remedy? You get 20 remedies.
Yes.
Supposedly we all have the same method.
Yes. So,
but is this now a lack of methodology, or is this an artistic thing that you have to develop somehow a feeling for which is the right remedy, for lack of better method, or
yeah. Well, I think we went through that more or less. You can first try to define for yourself on what level you are prescribing. And we talked about this before. There's legitimate reasons to prescribe on 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 for this particular patient. So it's not always we aim at level 5 and every prescription should do that, and only those prescriptions will be curative. Still, I think we agree on that, and that's my point of view. There's like one signature remedy, like one remedy that is the closest resonance, and it's still approximate because it can be anything else. Otherwise, you will never prescribe twice the same remedy in your life, for instance. So it's always near enough to resonate at the core. Yeah. And so there's the one and the many, as we talked about in other talks. You have the one signature and then the many remedies that can do good. And depending on the level of the analysis or the homeopath, they will maybe come up with one of those remedies that will do good, but that are not necessarily the vital remedy. So it is not, by definition, a matter of art. It can be a matter of, let's say, method. If the remedy happens to fall within groups that are well known among homeopaths, the patient is lucky. Because method probably will then all point to the same remedy because it's well known. It's a lesser known remedy. Probably a lot of homeopaths will come up with lots of different suggestions because the remedy is partially known or unknown, and they will come up with one of those many remedies that will do good, and maybe not with the similar. But this is the best we can do. So, and we are evolving.
Yes. So I hear that it sounds like it's still a matter of method and not really an artistic aspect. Okay, so trying to come back then to the artistic aspect.
Yes.
There was you were describing this beauty aspect, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Do you recall that you read or talk about beautiful cases?
Yeah.
Isn't that strange? I mean, I don't know how many doctors or health workers talk about a beautiful case. Now homeopaths do all of the time. I have a beautiful case, and we like to read beautiful cases and to talk about beautiful cases and what is the beauty in it.
Yeah, maybe this is also because in general a lot of the emotion is taken out of conventional medicine. It's not really an emotional subject,
But we never try to define it. We know when it's a beautiful case and we love it, we're thrilled by it, but what is a beautiful case? And if you will put words on it. You can try to put words on it.
For example, when you have an idea at some stage of the case what the remedy might be, and it's probably not one of the very obvious ones, or maybe it is, but much rather it's not one of the obvious ones. And you ask a confirmatory question, and the patient immediately says, yes, that's exactly right.
Mhm.
That's, I would say, can be the experience of a beautiful prescription. And then later, when the patient comes for a follow-up, and of course that's great when they say, yeah, I'm this has been a deep-seated pattern for me, and now I feel more relaxed about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say that's an aspect of a beautiful thing.
Yes, that's of course what we are always trying to do. It's to bring about healing on deep-seated things. Actually, it's a transformation. It's underestimated, I think, by patients and homeopaths alike, what a homeopathic Similvan prescription can do if you stick to it long enough. But the beauty of, as you say, like this confirmatory symptom, it's like it fits, everything fits. It's the puzzle is complete. I see it now. It's like a moment you see, you had an idea and now it's confirmed. The patient adds to it the missing pieces and now it's complete. So in its completeness, why is it so beautiful? Why is it so exciting to have this coherent picture? I keep repeating the same words because in beauty there's truth. This is it. You understand something. You saw something. Something happens that transcends yourself. It's like I compare it to music as well. You play music, you play every day, you have performances, and every now and then something will happen that transcends your, let's say, regular performances. You make good performances maybe every week, but maybe only a few times in your life the performance will be perfect. Something will carry you away, your group away, there's something more happening than all of the band people are playing in tune or playing well. There's something more happening. And this something more, it's almost like a divine thing. We don't know what it is, but we know when it happens, and we try to set the stage for it. By doing our art. On a daily basis. You see patients on a daily basis or a weekly basis, it doesn't matter. You see patients regularly, and only now and then, it happens, And what happens? Your beautiful case. That is what happens. Did you do something else? Probably not. Were you different? Probably not. It's like a moment of grace. And that keeps you going. I think that keeps all homeopaths going.
I find this very stimulating, this topic, and there are more thoughts coming to me about it, which we should discuss in a further episode. I will do more thinking on this.
And
we can discuss it again. With a different perspective.
Okay, it's only words, but it's an experience. You have to think it in, and actually we know it. It's implicit, I think, in all homeopaths working with, with constitutional prescriptions.
Okay, so we tried today to approach the topic of art, science, and homeopathy, especially the art of homeopathy, and clarified what we understand under the science of homeopathy, and began to define a bit about the art of it, the beauty of it, and it relates also to the healing scenario. So I would call this the first season of our Fridays with Anne. Comes to a close with 20 episodes. And we go on a summer break now, and we will be back after the summer. Thank you very much for this exciting and enlightening, informing talks. And I look forward to seeing you on Friday after the summer.
Okay, we'll have a little summer break. I think we deserved it. Okay, have a good summer, Joost.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.